Long ago, Inazuma had 5 legendary poets. People bestowed upon them the title of the 5 Kasen.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty. He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
Akahito had once belonged to the 5 Kasen. Each poem he composed, he marked with a scarlet red seal, hence the Aka in his name. Such a distinguished writer was he, and yet one of the poems he had submitted the previous year was found to be plagiarized. Akahito was exiled for his crimes, and only 4 of the 5 Kasen remained.
It's very sad.
Sumizome went over Akihito's poems and noticed that the plagiarized poem lacked his seal. She immersed his poetry in a stream nearby, and only on the plagiarized poem did the ink run. Aoi no Okina passed by and witnessed Sumizome's doing, which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Suiko's poetry submission, and this is where the story comes to an end.
That's not the end! What happened to Akahito? Did he get called back from exile? Was he forgiven? Pardoned? What happened? That's not the end of the story. It can't be. That is quite a lovely image. I do quite like that. It's not my style of art, but it was a nice image. Aww, an exile. That's so sad. Oh, you seem upset, Paimon.
Yeah. Ever since we completed the story of the 5 Kasen, there's still one thing Paimon hasn't been able to figure out.
Who plagiarized? Surely Kura didn't do any plagiarism. But I'm assuming Kura was the one who found out about the plagiarism and therefore wanted the page torn out?
One of the 5 Kasen is called Kuranushi, right? It's just that... how could the story of the 5 Kasen finish without him appearing at all?
That's why I keep saying it needs to be a 5th part.
Oh, have you really not noticed?
Huh? Not noticed what? This is...
What he means is that the story of Kuranushi was already embedded within the 4 poems.
Huh?
That's right. The key lies in the poem that Aoi no Okina wrote after seeing Sumizome rinsing the poetry collection. An average person could never understand the scene of a young girl washing Akahito's poetry collection in a stream. Even Aoi no Okina couldn't figure out the meaning behind Sumizome's actions. He was simply reminiscing and thinking about his old acquaintances. However, for the perpetrator who framed Akahito, it was completely obvious.
Kuronushi? Is that what you said his name was? So he was the person who was framing him.
He was worried that if this poem was seen by the Shogun, then the Shogun could discover the truth behind the plagiarism incident.
Oh!
If that happened, then he'd be finished.
I was so confused. I thought originally there was just one set of poems, and that was the one that had the page torn out, and that's why I couldn't figure out why the page was torn out. Why is there plagiarism? Like, I'm so confused. And now there's a second poem, like, what? Oh god, I'm so slow. I finally understand. The poem given by Aoi no Okina to the Shogun was the second poem, speaking of the stream. Kuranushi is like, oh fuck, my plagiarism is going to get spotted. So he had Aoi no Okina tear out the page even though they didn't realize why. That's what happened.
So in desperation, he threatened Aoi no Okina to make him tear out this poem.
Which means the one who threatened Aoi no Okina is the same person that framed Akahito.
I still want to know what happened to poor Akahito. Did he live the rest of his life exiled? That's depressing. The culprit is none other than Kuronushi.
What? Kuranushi?
You didn't make that connection?
That's right. Though there are only 4 poems, they still managed to tell the complete story of all 5 Kasen.
Well, I want to know what happened to the page. And did Kuronushi ever get discovered?
Since the shogun mentioned in the poems is certainly not the one of the 5 Kasen, the only character left is the mysterious one with an unknown identity.
Oh, okay. Paimon is finally starting to get it now.
Is Zhongli coming to town? He's the only person I could really associate with black.
However, this also brings something else to mind. The story of the 5 Kasen has more or less reflected everything that's been happening around us lately. Which begs the question, is there a Kuronushi in our world as well?
That would betray somebody else. Not that I know of.
A Kuranushi? In our world?
Speaking of which, I wonder if our dear Kazuha has come up with anything.
Oh, right! Kazuha! He's been pretty quiet this whole time. Let's ask him! Buy your special edition drinks!
I think I rammed into him.
Kazuha, are you okay? You've been standing in front of this blank canvas for a while, and you don't look so good.
Apologies for making a wild assumption, but has the story of the 5 Kasen reminded you of anything?
I just hope it has nothing to do with his dead friend.
Yes. A few things did come to mind, actually. However, they were nothing more than some past incidents regarding my family. I don't mind sharing the stories, but I'd prefer not to bring you any more trouble.
Hey, we're all friends here, Kazuha. You can always tell us whatever's on your mind.
Is he a descendant of Akihito?
Kaidehara, please forgive my assumption, but perhaps you were thinking of the Raiden Gokuden?
Raiden Gokuden. What is...
The Raiden Gokuden? What's that?
Glad I'm not the only one who's confused.
It appears that Miss Kamisato and I were thinking of the same thing.
Now please share what that is with the party.
But it also has much to do with the Yashiro Commission. It would be improper to speak of it here without the consent of Miss Kamisato.
It's fine. Those of us here are all trustworthy, so there isn't any harm in it. However, this matter is somewhat complicated and may be difficult to explain. Let me start with the Raiden Gokuden.
Should we really be standing here explaining it in the middle of the street where everybody can watch and listen? We're pretty conspicuous as it is. We should probably take this to somewhere private like the Kumare Tea House.
As you all know, the Yashiro Commission's primary purpose is managing ceremonial and cultural affairs, and Inazuma's art of forging swords is a very important part of our culture. The Raiden Gokuden were once the top 5 schools of the forging art in Inazuma. Although these families were swordsmiths by craft, they also held many important positions in the Yashiro Commission.
Okay, that seems like a really big jump in logic for Kazuha. What's the relevance?
Unfortunately, of the 5, only the Aminoma art still maintains its artisan lineage. The descendants of the Ishin art are also still alive, but the craft has been lost to time. The descendants of the Ishin art are none other than the Kaidehara family.
Whoa! We knew Kazuha came from a noble family, but we had no idea about his connection to the Yashiro Commission and sword making.
How did they lose the art? How does one lose the art over time?
Yes, but that's all part of the past now. The Ishin art was lost with my great-grandfather's generation. My grandfather was dissatisfied with my great-grandfather's lack of effort. When he was young, my grandfather traveled all over Tevat to find a way to revive the family business. But it was to no avail. And in my generation, our last remaining family property was lost as well.
I heard my elder brother mention that the decline of the Raiden Gokuden happened very rapidly. In the span of a few decades, 3 of the families suffered various misfortunes and disappeared completely.
It's great, but I'm still questioning the relevance?
Later, there was speculation that all of these misfortunes stemmed from some background machinations, meaning that someone wanted to wipe out the Raiden Gokuden.
Why? What relevance is this to the poets?
However, since not every family of the Raiden Gokuden came to ruin,
Such explanations were treated as nothing more than a conspiracy theory.
Indeed. I've also believed such ideas were just theories and rumors. However, I know that a major incident happened to my great-grandfather when he was young.
Define major incident.
Not only did it affect the Kaedahara clan, but it nearly jeopardized the Kamisato clan's position in the Yashiro Commission as well. After reading the story of the 5 Kasen, I can't help but feel like it's pointing me toward the truth behind that incident.
I don't understand why that incident would even come to mind when you're reading the story of the 5 Kasen. I don't see any resemblance whatsoever.
What exactly happened to your great-grandfather, Kazuha?
I still can't say. I need to speak with someone to verify the details. Let's meet here again at noon tomorrow.
I sorely hope that this is going to be told in detail as to what's happening, because I don't understand the correlation. There is absolutely nothing that ties the two things together at present. By the way, am I picking someone up from the docks tomorrow, or is that the day after?
I will tell you everything I know then.
Was there a 2-day gap? Oh, it did both of them at once, did it? Oh no, we're doing the Flora Courtyard now. Wait until the following afternoon at 12. And who does Kazuha know here? I know he's from here, but like we've never seen him interact with anybody other than Beta. So this is all news to me.
Ah, you're here. It appears everyone has arrived.
How did your investigation go, Kazuha?
Last night, I visited a former servant who once worked for my family. I was able to learn the entirety of what happened all those years ago. In my great-grandfather's generation, the Ishin art was tasked with forging an important Goshinto according to an ancient forging diagram. Though all the craftsmen involved were very experienced, the process was still unsuccessful. Every blade that was forged was defective. When the deadline came, the blade still wasn't finished. So the craftsmen all fled and hid for fear of punishment. The Kaedahara clan and Yashiro Commission then conducted an investigation. My great-grandfather and the head of the Kamisato clan eventually tracked down the craftsmen near the seaside. However, they met fierce resistance from the craftsmen, and in the end they were unable to prevent them from escaping by sea. The Kaedahara clan was severely punished for the swordsmiths that had escaped, and the family gradually fell into decline. Moreover, I heard that the head of the Kamisato clan was injured by the fleeing swordsmiths, which combined with his advanced age caused him to pass away shortly thereafter.
Yes. The sudden passing of the family head left the Kamisato clan leaderless. Treacherous people took advantage of the situation and put the family's status in the Yashiro Commission at jeopardy. This single incident had profound effects. Even after the position as head of the clan was passed to my father, the Kamisato clan still wasn't able to regain its prior reputation.
I still don't get the correlation between the two things. It's like you've gone from A to Z. There's nothing in between.
But, thanks to my brother, everything is getting better now.
The failure to forge the blade was ultimately attributed to a lack of required skill and finesse. The Kaedahara clan and the Yashiro Commission always believed that was the case. However, the story of the 5 Kasen seems to imply that the failure didn't stem from a lack of skill, but rather, the diagram had been tampered with by someone. Miss Kamisato, I heard yesterday that the Yashiro Commission has still kept the diagram ever since the failed forging all those years ago.
I don't think the story is relating to this at all. It just feels like he is deciding to apply the story to a piece of his history just cause. I don't think there's any actual connection here, because I can't see any. They just feel so disconnected.
Might I ask you to do me a favor?
Yes, I understand. I will go back and search for the diagram. Please come meet me at the Kamisato estate later.
Oh, the palace died in Black with starting. I thought there was the other one. Oh, I told you we finished that one at the exact same time. Oh no, that's this one. Oh, that's the quest starting from having completed the 4th thing. Okay, never mind. Anyway, Kamisato estate. I'm just still very confused. I don't understand why he's thinking of that when we're talking about poets. There's no connection. Please tell me we get to have Ayaka and Naoto together. I highly doubt it. I should have danced around her as Ayato.
I've managed to find the old diagram.
See them together.
Though the diagram is well preserved, you can still tell that it's seen at least 3 or 4 centuries of history.
Whoa, that's pretty old. Is it still possible to find any evidence of tampering?
At this point, we can only try our luck and see how we fare.
They immerse the diagram into a basin of water after a short while. Ancient forging blueprint. You guys just left it out in the open for all time? It's a bit irresponsible, don't you think?
Although the effect is not too obvious, you can still see that some words have now started to smudge. Kazuha, this is clear evidence that this chart was indeed tampered with. Someone framed the Kaedehara clan all those years ago.
I see. But I fear that I've discovered this secret too late. When my grandfather was young, he proposed reviving the Ishin art many times to my great-grandfather. But my grandfather was only scolded for being too foolhardy. Yesterday, the former family servant said that my great-grandfather even went to the Yashiro Commission to request that diagram from the head of the Kamisato clan. He then showed that diagram to my grandfather and asked him and his subordinates to try to forge the sword. Sure enough, my grandfather also failed. My great-grandfather then told him, if you can't find the secret within, then the Ishin art deserves to fade from the world. My grandfather left Inazuma in a rage after hearing those words. He didn't ever see my great-grandfather again, even till the day of his passing. Looking back at it now, the argument between the two of them was simply meaningless.
Oh,
I heard that your great-grandfather was very industrious when he was young, but later in life, he no longer bothered with the forging arts. It appears that his failure took quite a toll on him.
Kazuha, did your great-grandfather really say, if you can't find the secret within? Did he use those exact words?
Yes. The servant said that he personally heard those words, and still remembers them very clearly. My grandfather was so angry at the time that he smashed my great-grandfather's cherished bonsai tree.
Wait up. Are you trying to say... Oops, I gotta click.
Yes, it appears that you understand my meaning. Kazuha, if your great-grandfather thought that the Ishin art lacked finesse, then after witnessing his son's failure, wouldn't he have said something more along the lines of, your skills aren't sufficient? But instead he said, if you can't find the secret within. Don't you find that a little strange?
Huh? So you're saying my great-grandfather may have very well known that the failure was due to someone's tampering?
Then why did he just let it go?
Yes. The current evidence suggests that is highly likely.
I apologize, but would you all please accompany me to the Tenryou Commission? After I became a wanted criminal, the Tenryou Commission seized my family's last remaining estate, which contained all of my family's old belongings. I want to inquire about the whereabouts of those belongings. If I can find them, we might be able to get some clues.
all right, let's get moving.
I mean, I'm all for a story that delves into Kazuha's past because I never thought that was something we're ever going to get. I thought we were kind of done with Kazuha, so, you know, I'm all for that. I just don't agree the way that they've gone about it. Oh my god, I'm so discombobulated. Where did I come from? No. No. Good lord. Totally turned around. Yeah, I don't... There doesn't seem to be correlation between the poets, their message, and this history. It just seems like a giant leap in logic between two things that have zero connection. And I'm not vibing for it. But I do like the story in general about the Ishinat and whatnot. If they just had them as separate entities, I wouldn't have had any issues. The fact that they're trying to tie them together is the problem I have. Because they're not meshing very well. Kudasara! Yet another NPC, why not? We've already had her, I suppose. Never get more of her.
What are you all doing here? Did something happen on Rito?
Yeah, several years ago, yeah. Nothing's happened, Sarah. We just need to ask about something.
Kujo Sara. Perhaps you still remember me.
Oh, I'm sure she does. She tried to execute you.
Yes, I do. You're Kaedehara Kazuha, a wanted criminal during the Vision Hunt decree. However, your arrest warrant has since been repealed.
Sara, we'd like to ask about the Kaedehara clan's property that was seized by the Tenryou Commission. Do you know where all their belongings are now?
Yes, the items seized at that time are currently stored in the warehouse next to the police station. Since Kaedehara has come back to Inazuma, those items should be returned to their rightful owner.
I much prefer the way she's pronouncing his surname, Kaedehara, instead of Kaedehara. No, Kaedehara is how they're saying it. Kaedehara, which is not, no, just a big no. Kaedehara. So much better.
No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. I'm not here to reclaim those belongings. I just want to investigate them for a personal matter.
I see. All right, I'll inform the police station. They'll take you into the warehouse.
By the way, in case you hadn't noticed, I think we're trying to make a rainbow of characters.
Thank you, Sara!
Kaedehara, about the Vision Hunt decree.
That's all in the past now, Kujo Sara. There's no need to mention it again. I know you've also had your own convictions and struggles. However, may I ask something of you?
And I do like that we're getting this moment. We weren't just brushing it off having Kazuha back here. They're actually going, yeah, we've had conflict. It was pretty fucking serious, but let's move on from it.
Yes? What is it?
Currently, I have no plans to stay in Inazuma. As a result, those items from my family's estate are of no use to me, Madam Kujo. I believe you are a person of integrity. After our investigation is over, I'd like to ask if you can handle those belongings for me. Please, sell them, and use the money to help the poor.
All right, I understand. I'll be sure to take care of it.
Such a nice guy.
I've already informed the police station. They'll be... As for all the belongings left by the...
Fine. Let's go to the police station.
This is the headquarters of the Tenryou.
Yeah, what of it? Is it next to or opposite? Because that's the police station there. Wait. I was about to say, no, that's the commission I'm heading towards, you idiot. So this is the warehouse next to it. Okay, I was thinking separate building, but sure.
Ah, you must be here to investigate
That's
the
color.
Kaedehara clan's belongings. Well, Madame Kujo's already informed me of the situation. Please, come this way.
He pronounced the E more to my liking, but Kujo. It's just the Kujo clan. To be fair, I've been guilty of pronouncing it that way. As opposed to Kujo. It's a lot easier to say Kujo. We're so lazy in our pronunciations, aren't we?
The Kaedehara clan's belongings are stored in this warehouse. Unfortunately, the items are scattered throughout in order to save space. My deepest apologies.
That seems very irresponsible. Regardless of saving space, you should never divide items like that.
However, I have clearly marked the corresponding items, so they shouldn't be too difficult to find. I'll be waiting for you at the door. Please, come see me if you require any assistance.
If the warehouse just contains boxes upon boxes, why would you break them up to save space? Put all the boxes next to one another.
Kazuha,
Makes no
since
sense.
the items are scattered throughout the building, I propose we split up and look for clues.
Yes, sounds like a
The
plan.
building's not even that
Thanks
big,
for
you
your help,
idiots.
everyone.
It's a tiny building. It'll take you 2 seconds to toss it. Look at it. It would take you 2 seconds. Ayaka, how's it going for you?
Oh, it's you. I'm currently investigating the sword rack.
I see that.
Oh, since the Kaidahara clan was a family of renowned swordsmiths, then this blade should be super valuable, right? Maybe it's a treasure of the Ishin art!
No, it's probably just a boring sword.
I'm afraid not. Although the sword rack is made of fine wood, the swords placed here appear to be quite ordinary. Due to the dire financial situation of the late Kaidahara clan, everything of value has probably been sold off already. The blade on the sword hasn't been sharpened, but there are many signs of use on the hilt. Perhaps Kaidahara used it for training as a child.
And why is this stuff not in boxes? Why is it all just sitting here?
Let Paimon see!
It's weird.
Oh, there seems to be a couple uneven characters etched into the scabbard. Kazu-ha. Wow, so it really was Kazuha's! Paimon can imagine what Kazuha was like as a kid.
I will continue investigating here and call you if I find anything interesting.
Sister dear. Hi. I'm very much taller than you. I can't wait to see you guys actually interact. I wonder how long I've got to wait for that. We're not going to Kaza. I guess we go to him last. Albedo.
Oh, it's you. Unfortunately, I have yet to find anything of value here.
Why does everybody say that with disappointment in their voice? Oh, it's you. Oh, it's the traveler. Just...
Whoa. This folding screen looks pretty old, though.
Yes, perhaps if it were better maintained, then it could fetch a decent price. However, I doubt it could be sold in its current condition. I was taking a closer look just now and noticed a large piece of dirt caught in the fabric fibers on the back side. The soil is deeply embedded into the cloth. That means a great deal of force was used when the dirt was lodged into the cloth. It's likely that this patch of dirt is from the very flower pot thrown by Kazuha's grandfather.
Why don't you think this is of any value?
Because this is not what we are looking for now.
Correct.
Let me think. If I wanted to leave a message behind, I would probably choose to leave it on something a little more special.
Albedo seems to be thinking pretty hard. We better not bother him.
Books.
What did you find, Shincho?
I found quite the pile of old books. These books here are all related to smelting steel, and these are about the process of forging blades. This pile over here is all about plants and flowers.
The books about plants and flowers must have belonged to Kazuha's great-grandfather.
Could there be any clues in the books?
I skimmed through them just now, but I didn't find anything particularly worth noting. I shall take a closer look and let you know if I find anything.
You do that, sir. I'm just... Wrong button. Gonna go talk to good old Venti. Go team.
There must be some around here somewhere.
What are you looking for, Venti? Ooh, look at my little... Kamisato symbol.
Do you see all these pots here? Some of them are bound to have liquor inside.
Oh,
right?
facepalm. I dare say most of them have liquor inside them because they all look like they're liquor. At least the red ones do. Look like they're liquor bottles.
Hey! Everyone else is trying hard to help, and you're over here looking for a drink?
I merely jest, of course. Come on, we're close to uncovering the truth now. Why do you look so worried?
Because you're involved.
Well, Paimon doesn't really get why Kazuha told Sara to sell all these belongings.
Because he doesn't need them anymore.
What if we don't end up finding anything today? Then wouldn't Kazuha lose the chance of finding out what really happened all those years ago? You know, just saying.
So just be more thorough.
I know you are worried about Kazuha, but if you ask me, he is stronger than you think. Since Kazuha made such a request to Sara, that indicates he's already made his choice. Whether we find out the truth or not today, or whatever it turns out to be, he's ready to accept it.
Yeah, I saw as much. It says your Archon's intuition speaking.
No, not intuition. Rather, I've lived for a long time now, so you could say I have some experience in reading people. Leave the things here to me. You two can look around elsewhere.
Okay, let's go look to Kazuha.
Everyone, I've found something that you should all have a look at.
It's the bonsai tree that was destroyed. Yet it looks remarkably intact.
This flower pot was in my house for a long time. I heard that it was left behind by my great-grandfather.
Yeah, the plant seemed to have been dead for a while now.
Yet it hasn't decomposed, which is kind of weird.
Well, after my great-grandfather stopped studying the forging arts, he picked up the hobby of keeping bonsai plants. Most of his prized plants were given to others once he became seriously ill. But he specifically left behind this dead plant at the time, and even instructed my grandfather not to throw it away in his will.
Are you telling me that the lost Ishan art of sword making is somewhere in this dead bonsai?
My grandfather deeply regretted that he never managed to reconcile with my great-grandfather, so he left the plant exactly as it was. But now that I think about it, my great-grandfather could very well have left it behind for other reasons.
Now that you mention it, this flower pot is kinda suspicious.
Is Kazuha going to learn the Ishan art and finally, give his life purpose and a path?
Yes. Let's take a closer look, shall we?
They find a hidden compartment at the bottom of the flower pot. Would have been cool if we'd seen that happen
Something.
rather than being told that it happens.
It's only a bunch of blank paper.
Water!
Do you think someone already discovered the compartment and swapped the contents?
We just discovered hidden ink and smudged ink with water. Go put it in water.
No, I do not think that is the case here. See the paper? It's quite yellowed, which means it's very old.
Maybe we need to try using water again.
You mean to say that these sheets have been written with special ink, like that which Miss Kamisato found before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree with this hypothesis.
Okay, let's give it a dunk then.
We
There is a
don't
pond
have any
outside
water.
the police station. I'll use the water there.
You go with Kazuha to the pond outside the police station. Oh, you're teleporting me? How sweet. Save me the effort.
Well, how did it go? Those weren't just plain old sheets of paper, were they?
Just as everyone guessed, after I sprinkled some water onto the paper, writing did indeed begin to appear on it. It is a letter, written by my great-grandfather.
Oh? What does the letter say?
Is it something you can share with us too?
It is. I'll tell you what my great-grandfather knew at the time, but before that, I wish to take you somewhere. Everyone, please follow me.
Where to? To the seaside? It's not exactly close by. 400! Dude. I don't have the patience for that.